I've been in many bands, and Bonton Society. I guess my story starts. How do you get a band together? How do you form a band? And I kind of found it started with people in high school. You get together, you make some music. You think you're doing a band. You're not really sure what it is. I remember my first attempts at a band weren't quite organized. So we tried, and then eventually two of us, a high school friend of mine and I, joined a band of some older, experienced guys. And I think what I learned from them is that you need to at least have a coordinated effort or an organization to the band to make sense of it, at least have some direction. So I learned from them, being older, a little more established, how to have a band, how to be in a band. Otherwise, you're just kind of running in all different directions with scattered thoughts. So my friend and I were in that band, and then we I left that band and answered an ad in the newspaper and joined a band, and auditioned, and they accepted me and started going with that, and that developed into yet another band. And at that point, I started meeting some other musicians who ultimately became Bonton Society. And one was the vocalist Doug was brought in because one of the band members' brothers was a frat brother, and there's all these connections. So we brought in Doug. Doug knew John, so then John came in. Then the three of us left that band, and eventually, found the final pieces for Bonton Society. So it's kind of a journey along the way, and it's just interesting how these relationships are connected from one step to the next, and you get to that final place where you are. And even, I've been doing bands after that now for 30 years, and it really all goes back to the beginning. One's connected to the next, and to the next, and it's all about relationships, people you meet along the way. So when you start your journey on putting the band together, you never know where you're going to end up, but I think you're going to find you'll meet people, you'll make friends you have for your whole life, and it's just an interesting thing, this music business, because it's ever evolving and ever changing, and it's always part of you, so it's kind of a cool ride in that respect. I think we started booking the band through an agent we had met because we put together our own little showcase event in the basement, and actually one of these agents showed up to this. We invited all the agents. One of them showed up. He liked what he saw, and he started booking us. So we developed a relationship with him, and then again that led to a few gigs, and just continued to grow and grow. And again, we met more agents and met new people, and so we did some booking on our own. I think getting our foot in the door with an agent or booking agent helped us establish us, on the music scene. And then the band started to grow, and I think one thing, I found in putting together bands, and the reason I went through so many steps, and we all went through steps to get to this band, is we found a group of individuals who had a same common goal, where we could work towards something together. There wasn't the hotshot guy that could do this or the hotshot guy that could do that. We really had a unified path we wanted to follow, and I think that's what I found over the years. If you can get everyone on the same page, you're going to do so much more than people who have different ideas and scattered thoughts. So we put together a band that we wanted to be special, unique, and I think. As we started doing shows, we tried to make each show an event, and I think that really helped us grow with an audience, because they saw we weren't just five guys on stage with t-shirts and jeans making music. We put on a show. We dressed up the stage. Every time we played, it was something different. What were they going to do next? And that really helped give us a unique identity, and the word spread. It's funny, how do we gain traction? How do we get ourselves known? I would say, right now, go get yourself a nice industrial stapler and 500 posters, and go hit all the telephone poles. that might work actually, because it'd be different these days. Back then, everyone did it. And hopefully, your poster lasted for a day, because they would just tear it down and you get to go back and put it back up again with a stapler. But I remember going to school down at UWM and had my stack of stuff, and in between classes, I'm putting up the posters. But a lot of self-promotion, and that really, we would go out a couple nights during the week and hand out flyers to people in person. And people don't do that anymore. I think nowadays they call it social media, which we didn't have access to that. So it's a different world, and I guess I'm not as familiar with that and how to market yourselves. But meeting people personally, getting them to know who you are, and creating an exciting, unique event for them to be part of. I think back then the local scene was different than it is now, whereas we were all part of one thing. That music scene was shared by both the bands and the people that came to see the bands. I mean, we had hundreds of people that would come and see us, and I just don't think that exists anymore these days. So the music scene was more than just the bands, it was all the people that went to see the bands. There's a lot of great talent out there right now. There's a lot of really good young people. It's a different world from back when we were doing that. And people are marketing themselves more on social media and the internet, and I just don't think there's as much live music. Live music isn't an important thing, it seems, these days, which is unfortunate. It was just fun back then when that was the only place to see bands, was in person. We didn't have all these other avenues to track them down and see them. So maybe that's why we had so many people show up. I don't know. You need to have some musical talent, but again, I mentioned the unified effort of the group within the band. I'd like to use the analogy of a sports team, where you can have a bunch of average musicians or athletes or whatever, but if they're all on the same page and they all buy into the program, they all have a plan in place, they're going to accomplish much more than you get the one superstar and everybody's kind of scattered in their thoughts. And an example that I like to use, I guess, look at the Talking Heads, where these were a bunch of artists that met in art school, and he said, "Hey, let's form this band." And I don't think there was any musical virtuosos in the group, but they put together a creative, unique product. And I think, I guess I've always thought that success in the music business is maybe half music and the half is everything else, which incorporates, the package you're selling, the marketing you're doing, the people you're meeting. There's so much more than just the music. And again, it's all about putting on an entertaining show, an entertaining product that people will enjoy. And it's not being the best soloist or being the best at anything. It's just putting on a show that you can entertain with. Again, I think it's, as in most businesses or most ventures in life, it's all about people. Find good people you want to work with, people, again, as I mentioned, who have the same vision. And they go so much further if you're all together. And I think, in subsequent bands over the years, that's what I base it on, is just find the right people and the band will happen. And, in the years after Bonton, I continued to do all different things, different styles in Bonton, 10-piece show band with horns and all this stuff, but it all came down to, let's find some really good people who all want to do the same thing. And we did fairly well. So if I would give anyone advice, it's just find people you want to work with. You're going to find they'll be your friends forever. You're going to accomplish some great things. You'll have lots of fun. And it's a journey, and it goes on and on. So enjoy the ride.